The Galactic Alliance medical station orbited a quiet moon far from any busy trade route. It was a peaceful place, filled with the soft hum of life support systems and the faint glow of clean silver lights. The halls were quiet, as most of the patients were already recovering in their sleeping pods. In one of the lower sections of the medical bay, an unusual case had arrived that day, a human. Humans were still new to the Alliance. Only a few had traveled this far from their home planet, and most alien doctors had seen them only in data files. The files called them Death Worlders, beings from a planet filled with poison air, strong gravity, and violent storms. Most aliens thought the name was an exaggeration, but they were about to learn otherwise. The patient's name was Eli Carter, an engineer from Earth who worked for an interspecies repair crew. He had been fixing a coolant pipe aboard a freighter when the pressure valve broke and sprayed him with liquid from the ship's main reactor coolant system. The crew panicked and brought him to the nearest station. When the nurse Drolly saw him for the first time, she almost dropped her scanning tablet. Eli lay on a bed, groaning softly, his arm red and puffed up. The skin had swollen thick like soft rubber, stretching with every heartbeat. Drolly, a tall alien with silver blue skin and 6 gentle eyes, froze in horror. "It's swelling," she shouted, her voice trembling. Drolly's species, the Korthai, were fragile creatures. On their homeworld, swelling was a sign of deadly infection, a sure warning that the body was breaking apart. Once swelling began, there was no cure. Their skin would burst and the infection would spread to others. Every Korthai child was taught to fear that sight. Containment field. Drolly yelled to her assistants. "Quickly! It's tissue failure." Her 2 aides, both from different alien species, ran to activate the transparent energy barrier around the bed. The blue light shimmered, trapping Eli inside a sterile zone. "Vitals dropping?" Drolly asked. Her scanner beeped. Eli's heartbeat was steady. Temperature was slightly high but not dangerous. The swelling continued, but there was no cellular decay. "That's impossible," she whispered. "His body should be falling apart." Eli groaned and opened his eyes halfway. "What's going on?" Drolly leaned forward carefully. "Do not move. You have suffered massive tissue expansion. The fluid under your skin is unstable." Eli blinked slowly, trying to understand her words. "You mean my arm?" "Yeah, it's swelling. It happens sometimes. My body's fixing itself." "Fixing?" Drolly repeated the word, confused. "How can swelling fix something?" Eli gave a tired laugh. "It's called inflammation. My immune system's working. It'll be fine." Drolly turned to her aides in disbelief. "He is delirious. His body is collapsing, yet he speaks calmly." They nodded quickly. One of them, a feathered alien named Rune, whispered, "Should we prepare a limb disintegration field, Nurse Drolly? If it spreads, it could contaminate the entire bay." Eli lifted his head weakly. "Wait, disintegration what?" "Please stay calm, patient," Drolly said, raising a hand. "We will make it painless." Eli's eyes went wide. "No, nobody's cutting or disintegrating anything. My arm's not dying." His words were firm despite his fatigue. The aliens hesitated. The human's expression, sharp, serious, and unafraid, didn't match someone close to death. Drolly frowned. She rechecked her scanner. The swelling was still increasing, but inside the cells were not breaking down. They were dividing, forming new layers, sealing tiny tears, rebuilding the tissue. This can't be destruction," she murmured. "It looks like construction." Her 6 eyes blinked in confusion. Eli sighed, trying to lift his good arm. "Listen. Back on Earth, when you get hurt, cut, burned, bruised, the body sends fluids and immune cells to repair the damage. That's what you're seeing. It's not infection. It's healing." Drolly didn't believe him, but her curiosity grew. "Healing by swelling?" "Exactly," Eli said. "It's normal. Painful, but normal." Her assistant still looked terrified. "Nurse," Rune said quietly, "if you are wrong, it could kill everyone in this bay." Drolly's hands trembled slightly. She had worked in medicine for 20 years, always following the rules. Treat fast, never take chances. But something about this human's calmness made her hesitate. She looked back at the scanner. The human's blood cells glowed bright red on the display, fighting the damage like an organized army. No signs of decay, no toxins, only activity, constant focused repair. "I want a closer analysis," she said finally. "No disintegration." Her assistants froze in shock. "But that's an order," she said firmly. The 2 aides reluctantly obeyed. The room fell quiet except for the hum of the machines and Eli's slow breathing. For the next hour, Drawley watched the monitors carefully. The swelling began to stabilize. The damaged tissues under Eli's skin glowed brighter as new cells formed, closing microscopic wounds. The process was strange and messy by Korthai standards, but undeniably effective. Drawley spoke softly, half to herself. "You are not dying, you are rebuilding." Eli managed a faint grin. "Told you." Drawley sat back, her long fingers tapping the edge of the monitor. "You must be from a terrible world," she said. "Yeah," Eli murmured, eyes half closed. "Earth. Pretty nasty place sometimes." The nurse tilted her head. "And your kind lives there." "By choice?" Eli chuckled weakly. "We don't really have a choice, we just adapt." Drawley had heard that word before, adapt. In Korthai medical books, adaptation meant slow evolution across centuries. But this human's body was adapting in hours. Outside the containment field, her aides whispered nervously. "He could still explode," one muttered. Drawley ignored them. She leaned closer to the barrier, scanning every pulse and pattern. The human's biological rhythm was unlike anything she had ever seen, chaotic yet purposeful. "Your kind heals through chaos," she said quietly. "We would not survive such disorder." "Chaos works," Eli mumbled with a sleepy grin. "You just have to trust it." When Drawley turned to record her observations, the door to the bay opened. A tall alien doctor with gray scales stepped in, Chief Physician Heron. His long tail brushed the floor as he examined the scene. "What is this commotion?" he asked in a deep voice.
"Why is the containment field still active?"
Drawley straightened immediately. "Sir, the human patient, his tissue reaction is not an infection. It is self-repair," Heron frowned.
"Self-repair?"
"You are certain?" "I am observing accelerated cell growth and no decay," Drawley explained. "The swelling is temporary," the chief physician snorted. "Impossible. If his body is producing that much internal pressure, it will rupture. You are risking a contamination breach." "With respect, sir, I believe—" "You believe?" Heron interrupted sharply. "Belief is not medicine, Nurse Drawley." He turned to the aides. "Prepare surgical vaporization. We will remove the affected tissue before it spreads." Eli stirred on the bed, his eyes opening again. "Hey, what are you planning to do?" Drawley stepped forward quickly. "Sir, please. Look at the data first." "I will not debate with you about alien superstitions," Heron barked. "Do you wish to be responsible for a station-wide outbreak?" Drawley hesitated. The chief physician had the authority to override her. One command from him and Eli's arm would be destroyed. Maybe even his whole body, if they deemed him unsafe. Her eyes moved from the scanners to the human lying in the bed. His breathing was steady. The swelling was slowing. His cells were working like soldiers. A perfect, natural system she had never imagined could exist. If she stayed silent, he would die. If she spoke, she could lose her position, maybe even face charges for insubordination. Drawley took a deep breath and made her choice. "Cancel the vaporization order," she said clearly. The room fell silent. The aides froze. Heron turned slowly to face her. "What did you say?" he asked coldly. Drawley's voice trembled, but she stood straight. "I said cancel it. The human is not infected. The swelling is part of a natural healing process. I will take full responsibility." Heron's scales darkened. "You are risking lives, Nurse Drawley." "I am saving one," she replied. The chief physician glared at her for a long moment. Then, with a hiss of anger, he stormed out, muttering, "If this creature bursts, you will answer to the council." The door closed behind him. Drawley let out a shaky breath. Her aides looked terrified. Eli gave a weak smile. "You didn't let them blow me up. Thanks." Drawley smiled slightly, though her voice was still uneasy. "Do not thank me yet. If you explode, I will never forgive you." He laughed softly. "Fair deal." She adjusted the scanners again, lowering the light around the bed. "Rest now. Your body knows what to do, yes?" "Yeah," he said, closing his eyes. "Just needs time." For a while, only the gentle hum of the machines filled the room. The swelling began to reduce very slowly. The human's heartbeats remained strong. His temperature stabilized. Drawley watched in silence, fascinated by the strange, powerful creature lying before her. The more she studied him, the more she realized that humans were not just another species. They were something entirely different. They didn't depend on machines or advanced medicine to survive. Their strength came from within, When the lights dimmed to signal night cycle, Drawley stayed at her post, refusing to leave the human unattended. Her aides begged her to rest, but she shook her head. "I must see this through," she said softly. "I must understand." As the station slept, the alien nurse sat beside the containment field, watching the swelling fade little by little. She didn't yet know that this single human... The next morning, the Galactic Alliance medical station woke to the same quiet hum. But inside the lower medical bay, something new had happened overnight. The human Eli Carter was still alive. More than that, he was getting better. Drawley, the silver-skinned nurse with 6 eyes, was still at her post. She had not slept. She had spent the night studying the monitors and recording every tiny change in Eli's condition. The swelling in his arm had gone down by nearly half. The redness was fading, and the scanner showed new skin cells forming under the surface. Drawley couldn't stop staring. Her world's medicine had never seen such a process. The idea that a living body could rebuild itself without surgery or machines seemed impossible. Yet here it was, happening right before her eyes. When Eli woke, he stretched a little and looked around. "Morning already?" he mumbled, his voice rough. Drawley leaned closer to the containment barrier. "Do you feel pain?" "Some," he said, flexing his fingers carefully. "But it's a good kind. Means it's healing." Drawley tilted her head. "Pain is good?" Eli chuckled weakly. "Not exactly good, but it tells us our body's working." "It's a signal." The alien nurse's 6 eyes blinked slowly. On her planet, pain meant danger. It was something to remove instantly. The idea that it could help the body made no sense to her. Yet the proof was right in front of her. Drawley picked up her recorder and began speaking into it. Observation. Human subject's tissue swelling has decreased by 43%. Cellular activity remains high. Subject reports pain, which he claims assists healing. She paused, looking up. Subject continues to speak casually despite major injury. Eli grinned. "You're writing me a report?" "I must," she said. "The council will not believe this without evidence." Eli's smile faded a little. "Council?" "Yes," Drawley replied quietly. "They think your condition is dangerous. Chief Physician Heron will demand to end this experiment today unless I can prove you are safe." Eli sat up slowly. "So I'm an experiment now?" "You are a miracle," Drawley said simply. "But they do not see it that way yet," he sighed. "Then I guess we'd better show them." Drawley hesitated. "Show them? How?" "Let me talk to them," Eli said. "Humans are good at explaining things. And if words don't work, we'll use proof." Drawley looked at his still swollen arm. "You can barely move, Eli," he smiled. "Give me a few more hours. You'll see." By the next station cycle, Eli's arm looked almost normal. The redness was gone and only faint bruising remained. His energy had returned, and he was sitting upright on the bed when Chief Physician Heron returned with 2 council observers. They entered the bay with stern faces, the kind that never smiled. Their long robes trailed across the polished floor. "Report, Nurse Drawley," Heron demanded. Drawley bowed slightly. "The human is stable. The swelling has subsided. No signs of infection or decay." Heron folded his arms. "You disobeyed a direct order. If he had ruptured, hundreds could have died." "With respect, sir," Drawley said calmly, "he did not rupture. He healed." The 2 council observers exchanged skeptical glances. One, a small reptilian being with a golden crest, spoke coldly. "Healing through swelling? Ridiculous." Eli smiled from behind the containment field. "It's true," he said. "I can explain." The observers turned sharply, surprised that the patient was conscious. "I'm Eli Carter from Earth," he said politely. "And this," he lifted his arm, showing the now healed skin, "is what we humans call recovery." The reptilian observer frowned. "Recovery through inflammation? That is primitive biology." "Maybe," Eli said, "but it works." Drawley brought up the hollow display that showed the scans from the previous day. She pointed at the glowing patterns. "Here you see the damaged cells. And here, these clusters are new ones forming." The body sealed its own wounds. The second observer, a tall insectoid alien with glassy wings, leaned forward. "No machines assisted?" "None," Drawley said. "Only natural biological process." The insectoid blinked in disbelief. "Such resilience violates known medical theory." Eli laughed softly. "We violate a lot of things, apparently." Heron gave him a sharp look. "Your species comes from a dangerous world, yes? Perhaps such violent biology is why you survived." "Yeah." Eli said. Earth's not friendly. Poison plants, wild storms, predators. Everything tries to kill you. You either adapt or die. Our bodies learn to fight back even at the smallest level. Drawley added. It seems their biology treats injury as challenge, not failure. The reptilian observer tapped a claw on the floor. Interesting, but irrelevant. Our concern is safety, not curiosity. Can this swelling reaction spread to others? Drawley shook her head. No, I have run every test. There is no infection, no contagious agent. It is completely self-contained. The council members whispered to each other, still unsure. Harun crossed his arms and said, even if true, it proves nothing beyond coincidence. Eli looked at Drawley, then smiled slightly. Guess we'll have to show them the hard way. Before she could stop him, Eli held out his uninjured hand and pressed the edge of it against a sharp corner of the metal bed frame. A thin cut appeared, red blood welling up instantly. Drawley gasped. What are you doing? Demonstration, Eli said calmly. The council members stepped back in alarm. He is injuring himself. Eli raised the hand so they could see. Now watch. They stared as the blood stopped flowing within seconds. A thin, transparent layer began forming across the wound, the start of a scab. In a few hours, Eli said, that'll close completely. No infection, no decay, just healing. The insectoid observer leaned forward, fascinated. That is impossible. You are regenerating without assistance. Not regenerating, Eli said. Just healing. Every human does it. The reptilian observer was silent for a long moment. This ooze could change biological study across the Alliance. Drawley nodded. Yes. If we understand how humans recover, we may develop new treatments for others. Harun frowned. Even if so, it is dangerous to study such unstable life. Drawley looked at him steadily. Is curiosity dangerous, Chief Physician? Or is fear the danger? The words silenced the room. For a long while, no one spoke. Finally, the reptilian observer turned to Drawley. Continue your research under controlled conditions. The council will monitor your work closely. But do not destroy this discovery. Drawley bowed deeply. Thank you. When the officials left, Eli leaned back on his bed and laughed softly. Guess I passed the exam. Drawley exhaled a deep breath she hadn't realized she was holding. You are reckless, she said. You cut yourself in front of the council. Eli smiled. Sometimes the fastest way to teach is to show. Drawley shook her head but smiled too. Humans are strange. You fight pain, you bleed, and you still joke about it. That's our way, he said. We don't give up easily. Over the next few weeks, Drawley began a full study of human biology. Eli agreed to stay on the station to help her. Together, they ran small, harmless tests, measuring how quickly his skin closed, how fast his muscles rebuilt after strain, and how his body reacted to temperature changes. The more Drawley learned, the more she admired what she saw. Humans were tough not because they were built stronger, but because they were designed to survive anything. Their organs could handle extremes of heat and cold. Their immune systems attacked nearly everything dangerous. Even their bones grew thicker when stressed. It's like your body expects disaster, Drawley said one day, watching the data scroll across her monitor. Eli laughed. Because on Earth, disaster's just Tuesday. Drawley didn't understand the joke, but she smiled anyway. You laugh at danger, that's different. Yeah, he said, but it keeps us alive. Word about the humans' recovery spread through the station. Soon, doctors from other sectors came to see the self-healing alien. Some were skeptical, some amazed. Others simply wanted to touch his arm to see if it was real. Drawley became famous too. The medical database now listed her name beside a new field of study, human biology and adaptive healing. One evening, as the station lights dimmed for night cycle, Drawley sat beside Eli's bed again. He was healthy now, ready to return to his ship. You could stay, she said quietly. There is so much we still do not know. Eli smiled kindly. Maybe one day, but I've got work to do. More ships to fix, more systems to break. Drawley laughed softly. You humans truly never rest. Not really, he said. Rests for when the job's done. She nodded, her 6 eyes reflecting the soft light. Then promise me you will come back if you are injured again. Eli grinned. You just want another research subject. Perhaps, she said. But also, perhaps a friend. He looked at her and smiled warmly. I think I'd like that.